So glad you're with us today. For those of you online, excited to have you with us. For those of you here in person, really excited to have you with us also. Whether this is your first time being with us, which for some of you it is. I know online there's some folks with us for the first time. It's excited to have you. Whether it's your first time, you've been here a few times, we've been here many, many times. So glad that you're here checking God out, seeing what He wants to say for you. So for the past couple of weeks, we've been taking a look at what we are calling choosing wisely. We've been intentionally taking a look at 4 different areas of our lives where we have some big decisions to make. And I've been challenging you each week to prayerfully choose the better option. What is that in your life? What does that look like? And I've been asking you to choose that better option. Why? As we've said each week, because we are a sum of the choices that we've made in the past. And the choices that we make today are going to impact who we are tomorrow. Our choices matter. I want to give you a little roadmap of where we're going to go over the next several weeks. I really want to challenge you, encourage you to be here next week, because I bet you're like me. You got a lot of things pulling at you, a lot of decisions to make, a lot of things begging for your attention. You got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this and that and that, and then the list just goes on and on and on. And next week we're going to take a look at how do we choose the important over the urgent. How do we do that? How do we prioritize those things? The next week, public service announcements for you guys. I want to keep you out of trouble. 2 Sundays from today is Valentine's Day. Don't forget. We're having a guest speaker that day. It has nothing to do with Valentine's Day. It just happened to fit in the schedule of what was going on. Josh from Galveston Urban Ministry is going to be here, and you do not want to miss the 14th. Josh is a great speaker and just has a passion for people and a passion for God, and you can't help but get that from him. And then the week after that, on the 21st, we're going to start a new series on the book of Galatians. We're just going to take our Bibles, we're going to open it up, start in chapter 1, verse 1, and we're just going to walk through the book. I have no idea how long that's going to take. I'm anticipating 8, 9, 10 weeks to do that, but that's where we are going. But today, choosing wisely. Choosing wisely. For just a moment, I want to be a little bit of a Debbie Downer. I'm not going to do it very long, don't worry, but let me do it for just a moment. Here is a truth for your life. You are going to experience pain, and a lot of it. You're going to. All of us will. Pain is going to come. And the truth is, so much of the pain that we experience is from outside of our control. I'm so excited that Jesus didn't lie to us about this. He didn't say, hey, if you give your life to me, everything goes easy. Everything's perfect from that point on. No, He said, in this world, you will have trouble. Sometimes the pain in your life isn't your fault. The pain hunts you down. It chases you down. You get in a freak accident. Somebody you love betrays you. Maybe your company downsizes and you aren't in the plan for the future. And so you're looking for a job. A lot of the pain, honestly, a lot of the pain we experience is from outside of our control, isn't it? We know that's true. But it's also true that some of the pain in your life is within your control. You have the choice between one type of pain or another type of pain. You choose your pain. Our teenagers just got here from midwinter, and so I'm going to give it to you this way. Think of it this way. You can choose the pain of obeying your parents today, or face the consequences of the pain you're going to have. You get to choose. You can choose to live within your means today, or you can choose the pain of battling the mountain of debt tomorrow. You choose your pain. You can choose the pain of studying for the test today, or experience the pain of taking the class over next semester. You choose your pain. Now, this morning, I've got to tell you, just being blunt here, being forthcoming with you, this morning you get to listen to a message that has been taught to me and shown to me, and God was teaching it to me over this past week or a couple of weeks. Actually, you just get to tune into the final product of what I've been learning. But I want to challenge you this morning. Wisely choose the pain of discipline over the pain of regret. That's what we're talking about this morning. You got the pain of discipline, or you got the pain of regret. If we are choosing wisely, we're going to choose the pain of discipline. So let me give you a working definition of discipline. Now, there's many of them, but this one is a good one. Discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want most. Now, hear that. Discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want most. The Apostle Paul said something in Romans chapter 7. As I read the book of Romans, when I get to chapter 7, honestly, I take a lot of comfort in it. It's a little sick, it's a little twisted, it's a little demented, but it honestly makes me feel good to hear the Apostle Paul say what he says in chapter 7. Maybe you're new to the church and you have no idea who Paul is, or maybe you're checking God out and you're not sure what I'm talking about. Man, I'm so glad you're here. Take your honest questions to God and let Him answer them. Check Him out. So in case you don't know about the Apostle Paul, let me show a little bit of context about him. The Apostle Paul went through life, and he's a very devout person. But in the beginning of his life, he was focused on hindering God, hindering the gospel. He went around killing Christians, and he was good at it. He was very focused on this, but one day he met the risen Christ. Well, one day he met Jesus in a whole new way. Jesus has already been, he had already died, he had already been buried, he had already risen from the grave, and Paul has this experience where he experiences the resurrected Christ in a powerful way. And the Cliff Note version is this: he gets healed of a blindness going on in his life. From that moment on, Paul was drastically transformed. He is now on fire for God, and he ends up writing almost a third of the New Testament that we read today. And so if anyone had a spiritual edge, man, it would have been Paul. It would have been him. If anyone should have been able to get it right easily, it was Paul. But you come to Romans chapter 7, and he starts talking about how hard it can be to do the right thing. And I like it. I like that he's seeing him struggle to get it right, because I can have the same struggle. Here's what he says. He says, I don't really understand myself, for I want to do what is right, but I don't do it. Instead, I do what I hate. Have you ever been there? You're wanting to eat better, and then you look down and you say, man, I can't believe I ate the whole pie, or the whole bag of chips, or the whole, I'd like to say quart of ice cream. But let's just say container. You ate the whole container of ice cream, and you've been there. But man, I did it. He goes on to say, I want to do what is right, but I can't. I want to do what is good, but I don't. I don't want to do what is wrong, but I do it anyway. See if you can relate to the next thing he says, because I sure can. Oh, what a miserable person I am. Who will free me from this life that is dominated by sin and death? Man, as you read this, he sounds so hopeless. I can't do it. I want to do what is right, but I don't do it. I want to do what is right, but I choose the right thing. I don't want to do it, but I end up doing it. Who can help me? And then his tone changes. He says, thank God. Thank God. The answer is in Jesus Christ our Lord. He says, thank God, I'm the crazy man who can't get it right on my own, but thank God I don't have to get it right on my own, because the answer is found in Jesus. The answer is found in Jesus Christ our Lord. Don't miss what he is saying here in Romans chapter 7. He is saying, I want to do the right thing, but I can't do it. I keep messing up. I keep falling short. I can't believe that I struggle so much in doing what is the right thing to do, but man, I do struggle, and I get so ashamed. I get embarrassed. I get down on myself. I get upset. You would think by now I could get it right, but I don't. Who could ever help me? And then he says, thank God. You hear this? Thank God the answer is not in me being a better person. The answer is not in me being stronger. The answer is found in Jesus alone. That is the key thought that's going to drive everything that we talk about today. The reality is this, that left to our own wisdom, left to our own devices, we would all have a PhD in wrong choices. We would be a doctor in making bad decisions. But with the help of Jesus, working in our lives, working in us, and working through us, he can enable us to choose what is right. He can help us to make better decisions. He can help us to choose not what we want right now, but what we want the most. You see, with the help of Jesus, we will choose discipline over regret. And so I want to take just a journey with Paul. Keep following him through his life to do just this, because we see him grow in this area in his life. As he learned to tap into the power of Jesus more and more, he lived more and more of a disciplined life. So in 1 Corinthians, we're going to see how he progresses. He uses this imagery of a race in 1 Corinthians chapter 9. He says, "Don't you realize in a race everyone runs, but only one person gets the prize?" Everyone wants to. Everybody runs, but only one person gets the prize. And so he says, run to win. He says, when you are running, you are not running for second place. But when you are running, you run with every bit of focus and energy and strength that you have. You use all of your intensity and all your power that you have because you are running to win. You would think that would just make sense, but I can tell you from a practical experience, physical experience in my life, that is not always the case. Go back years when I was a better athlete. I played basketball and I did well. I played football and I did well. I ran track, honestly, because there was a couple of good-looking girls in it. And so I started running track, and I was not very good. I was disciplined in every other sport that I did, and I did it with an intensity. But when it came to track, I just was like, I'm just going to go out and I'm just going to run. I ran the half mile and the mile. If you know anything about the half mile, it is an all-out sprint to your death. And I didn't care. I sprinted like 10 yards. I was like, I'll jog the rest. And then the mile is pretty quick, but you still got to run fast. But I never did very well. But when we would just go out running, I blew by all of my friends. But I just didn't care. And I had a friend that told me this. He says, Mike, you need to stop running to not be last. Do your best. And I never thought of it that way, but that's what I was doing. I was not running to win. Paul says, if we are going to run, we run to win. He goes on and he says, all athletes are disciplined in their training. They're disciplined in their training. If you want to win, you have to choose what you want most over what you want now. You have to. What I want most, honestly, what I want most is to be in shape. What I want now is to sleep in and to eat ice cream and pie every single night. You have to choose what you want most over what you want in the moment. So he says we are disciplined in our training. He goes on, he says they do it to win a prize that will fade away. Man, when your soccer team wins, you get a little trophy, you get a little plastic medal, you might get a ribbon. If you're the best of the best, you get a gold medal, but it all fades away. And he says, as followers of Jesus, why do we train? Why do we run to win? He says, but we do it for an eternal prize. That's why we run to win. Not for some little trophy that's going to pass away, that we're going to forget, that we're going to lose. But we're doing it to honor and to glorify God. But we're doing it to honor and glorify the one that gave his life for us. That's why we do it. The Bible tells us that everything we do, we should do it as if we are doing it for Jesus. We should do it in a way that glorifies God and lifts him up. That's why we run to win with everything within us. As you're reading this, as you look at this, there's some great imagery going on here in this story. See, when he tells the people to run the race, they'd had an image that came to mind. That image would have, they would have thought of the Isthmian Games. It was a race that had tremendous popularity, and it was rooted in patriotic pride, a whole lot like our Olympic Games are today. And so when an athlete is going to train for those games, they go into strict training. He goes on to tell them, he says, let us strap off everything that hinders. Let us throw off everything that holds us back. Let's throw off everything that so easily entangles us. When he said that to the crowd listening to him that day, they would have had a mental picture. And honestly, it's kind of a gross one. The athletes, they would take off their clothing. They would strip down so nothing would slow them down. They would run the race in their birthday suit. Which gives you a whole other reason to run to win. I'm just saying. I'm just saying, if I'm running with a bunch of naked dudes, I'm not going to be in second place. I'm going to be in the front, probably more than you wanted. But we're running to win. We're running to win, not to win some earthly prize. We're not running to win some prize that just goes away. We're running to win a prize that never spoils, it never perishes, it never fades, it never diminishes. We are running to glorify God. And that's why we should have this attitude that when we are coming to a church service, whether it's online, whether it's here in person, that when we are coming to a church service, I am coming with an expectation to hear from God. I'm coming with an expectation that God is going to speak to me, that I'm going to hear something from Him that I can take and I can plug it into my life to make me more like Him, because that's what it's all about. I come with that expectation that I'm going to be transformed over time by His power, working in me and through me, that I am coming to be transformed by His presence. I wish I could say every time I went to church I had that attitude. That would be a lie. But I'm telling you, I have never went to church with that attitude that I did not hear from Him every single time. Because when you come with that attitude, you just hear differently. So this morning, running to win, I've got two application questions for you. This is the so what. We've read this text, but what do I do with it? How does it apply to my life? How can this transform me? How can this make me more like Jesus? Now, I'm going to be honest. There's two groups of people, maybe three, but I'm going to give you two groups of people here this morning. Some of you, because of your time in the presence of God and hearing from Him, your life is going to look different from this day forward. And others of you will think it sounds good and not do a whole lot with it. The choice is you. It's totally up to you. But this moment can be a divine moment that can and will alter your life. So two questions. The first question is this: what do you want most? It's an elementary question. I get that. I understand that. But it is a profound. The answer to that question is profound. What do you want most? Now, don't just blow this off. Really think about this. What do you want most right now in your life? And don't give me some dumb answer, like, I want to win the lottery. Yeah, give us something. Be honest with yourself. What do you want most? Give you some ideas just to get you thinking. For some of you, it might be, it's time for me to take Jesus more seriously in my life. It's time for me to grow in my faith. It's time for me to get serious about my relationship with Him. Maybe for some of you, it's to get in better shape. Maybe you're going to quit smoking. Maybe you're going to eat better. Maybe you're going to exercise. Something like that. I don't know. Maybe for some of you, it's going to be, I'm going to get real intense about getting out of debt. I'm going to manage my money. For some of you, it might be your marriage. Your marriage has been mediocre at best. If you're honest, you haven't been investing in it. You haven't been pouring into it. And you're saying, it's time to not have an average marriage, or it's time not to have a mediocre marriage. I'm not going to be half-hearted about this anymore. You want intimacy. You want to honor God, and so you're going to take some steps. Whatever it is. Whatever it is. It's up to you. You name what you want most. Now, if you're like me, don't fall into the trap. Don't think of a bunch of things. Don't jot down like 20 things of what you want most. Don't have this attitude that says, my whole life is undisciplined. I need to quit smoking, doing crack, gambling, kicking the cat, and shooting at people. No, it's not all of that. Just start with one. Start with one area. What do you really want most? What do you want most? Because here's what happens. When you start seeing victory in that area, guess what? You start seeing victory in other areas, because it becomes easier by the power of God to find victory in these other areas that you do want to change down the road. But for today, what do you want most? And so what I challenge you to do, whether you're at home or whether you're here physically with us, would you just write it down? One word or a sentence or a couple of words. What do you want most? And then once you have that figured out, you can move on to the second question. Well, what do you need to choose now to achieve or to experience what you want most? Think about that. Well, what do you need to choose now to achieve or to experience what you want most? It's a really simple idea. Once again, I get that. But what do you need to choose now to achieve what you want most? Once again, going from some of the examples earlier. You might say, well, I want to be more like Jesus. That's what I want most. I want to grow in my relationship with Him. So what are you going to choose? There are some things you need to choose. You need to start reading your Bible. You cannot become like God. You cannot become like Jesus if you don't spend time in His Word. It's not going to happen. You spend some time reading the Bible. Maybe you get the app so you can listen to it in your car. Maybe you say, to achieve that, I need to be in community. And so you join a community group and you plug in with some other people like that. One of the things that's going to have to be part of it, you say, we worship God together. We worship God together. And so you make Sunday attendance, being at church, a priority in your life. We seek God first in our life. Well, what do you need to choose now? So you can do that, so you can become more like Jesus. Maybe for you, it's I want to get in better shape. So what are you going to do? Well, you're going to exercise. That's going to be part of it. Maybe you go to a gym. Maybe you hire David Maines. Maybe you hire a trainer. You do some kind of home workout. You're going to have to change your diet. You're going to have to eat better. Why? Why? Why do you have to do those things? Because there's something you want most. There's something you want most. So you're not going to settle for what you want now. So the question is, what do you need to choose now to achieve what you want most? Maybe you want a great marriage. What are you going to do? What steps are you going to take? If you're a follower of Jesus, I would encourage you to start praying together. Maybe you have a date night every other week. Maybe you need to get some counseling. Maybe you need to get a mentor in your life. Maybe you just start by praising your spouse instead of speaking negative to them all of the time. You may be hearing all these things and you might be thinking, man, Mike, this sounds so hard. It is. It's going to take some work. I'm not going to lie to you and say, hey, if you decide to start praying with your spouse today, it's going to be awkward at the beginning. It just is. Going to counseling, it gets expensive, but it could be the best investment you ever make. But here's where we come back to this thought. You have to choose your pain. You have to choose your pain. I'm not kidding about this. I said this last week or the week before. Choose your pain. You can choose the pain of discipline, or you will experience the pain of regret. That's just a fact of life. You can choose the pain of discipline, or you will experience the pain of regret. So what do you want most? What do you want most? Well, what do you need to choose now to help you to get what you want most? So let's let the Apostle Paul help us through this principle. In 1 Corinthians chapter 9, Paul continues with the picture of this race. He says, so I run with purpose in every step. I am not just shadow boxing. I discipline my body like an athlete, training it to do what it should. I run with purpose. I run with intentionality. Every step I take matters. The choices I make today matter. I know this is hard. I know this is not simple. And I know that you're probably going to have this little thought in your mind that says, well, Mike, discipline is just easier for some people than it is others. I will totally agree with you. Self-discipline is easier for some than others, but that doesn't mean we can't work at it. My son Luke, he must get it from his mom because he doesn't get it from me. The boy's self-discipline when it comes to food is crazy. I have never seen a 7-year-old in the middle of his dessert say, I'm done. I've had enough. Me and Logan, we're like, we'll take it. We want it. I mean, see, as a follower of Jesus, here's the thing. Discipline is tough. It's hard. And so we need to ask Jesus for his help. We need to ask him to help us with it, because without it, we are going to be like Paul. And Paul was the exact same way. I want to do what's right, but I keep doing what is wrong. Got to invite Jesus into the equation. Why? Because we need his help. We need Jesus' help. We need his power. We need his strength to help us when we are weak. Several years ago, I read this example, and stick with me. It's going to get there and it's going to make sense to you. But this example helped me because I could identify with it. He wrote that someone had told him this. He goes, imagine that you want a beautiful yard. You want this beautiful, thick, luscious, amazing, manicured yard. You want this amazing grass. That's what you want. But you also need to go get the mail. There's a practical side of this life. And so as you come out the front door of your house to get your mail, I'm going to use my yard as an example here. To get my mail, you would walk out my front door about 10 steps. You would take a left. You would get over to the driveway. You would take a right, go about another 15 steps or so. Then you would take another right and follow the long sidewalk over to the mailbox. If you want a beautiful yard, that is the way that you're going to go. But it is a little longer path to get the mail. See, the problem happens when we come out of the front door. Because sometimes you say you want a beautiful yard, but the shortest distance to the mail is not the one I just described. The shortest distance is to come out my front door and take a right. And to walk right through the grass and come over there. And so you come out that first day, I want a beautiful yard, I want a beautiful yard. You want a beautiful yard. And so you come out of that door and you think, oh, it's not going to matter this one time if I go the shorter route. And so guess what? You go that shorter route and it's not that big of a deal. You walk on it that one time, it didn't really hurt anything. So the next time you come out of the door, you think to yourself, I should walk around this other way, but I'm in a hurry, and it didn't do any damage yesterday, so I'm going to do it just this one more time. So you take the shortcut through the grass. And then before long, you come out of the door, and you think, well, I've been doing this a few times now, and nothing's really happened, and so you just keep on keeping on. You just keep taking the shortcut. But before long, this journey becomes your pathway. This journey, you don't even think of going the other way. This journey becomes your pathway. It's just what you do when you walk out of the front door. And once you do that long enough, what happens? You've killed the grass. You've worn a path across your yard, and it doesn't look good. All you wanted was this beautiful yard, but now you don't have it, and now you're going to do a little bit more work to get it back like it was. And you have an ugly yard because you chose what you wanted now over what you wanted most. See, as a disciple of Jesus, we are going to be disciplined. We are going to choose what we want most over what we want now. When we walk out that front door, we stop and we say, man, I want a nice yard. And so I'm going to walk with purpose in every step I take. I'm going to train my body to be self-disciplined. It may take me a little bit longer to go down and around and all the way to the sidewalk. It may be a little bit more difficult, but we are choosing what we want most over what we want now. So, let me give you a better life example. I was thinking about this concept, this principle, this whole talk, and I was thinking about, and I was answering these questions. What do you want most? And so I'm just going to be blunt with you, transparent, real with you, and I'm going to tell you it's not real pretty. Hopefully you can't see all the depths of it that I can see of myself in this. Obviously, I need to get in better shape. And so as I think about what do I want most, that's the answer that came to me. This is what it looks like for me. I shouldn't be eating ice cream and pie every night. I shouldn't be. And you think I'm messing with you? But it's true. The little girl at Circle H down the road, she knows me by name. She does not even have to look up to ring me out. She knows it's the same. I get the little thing of ice cream and an apple or a cherry pie. $5.18. I come, she doesn't even count my money anymore. She knows it's going to be right. It's not good. So I want to walk down that path. I'm telling you, everything in me wants to eat the ice cream and the pie because I love ice cream and pie. I want it. That's what I want to do. But more than what I want now, what do I want most? Getting in better shape, eating healthier. What does that get me? Where does that take me? Well, down the road, I want to honor God with my body. I want to live longer. I want to enjoy retirement. I want to roughhouse with my kids. I want to chase them around. I want to run like crazy. I can't keep putting ice cream and pie into me and expect a great result. I can't keep doing this and expect that to be the preferred future because it's not going to happen. So what do I need to do? Well, I want to go get it, but I need to stop, and I need to ask God to help me. I'm choosing to have purpose in every step. I'm choosing what I want most over what I want right now. So I'm not walking down that path. I'm going to create a new path. And it isn't going to be easy. It isn't going to be simple. But as I take the right path over and over and over and over, it will get easier and easier and easier. And this plays out in every area of your life. If you chose finances, the exact same thing is true with finances. Man, I really want to buy this thing, whatever it is. I want this thing. I'm going to pick a boat. I want this boat, and the shortest distance between me and this boat is to go get a loan and to finance it. And I just want to sign on the dotted line. But I'm not going to because I want something more. As much as I want that boat, there's something better that I want. I don't want to be a slave to debt. I want the freedom to be able to help other people. I want to be a general person. I want to be a faithful giver as God leads me. And so I'm going to choose to walk a different way. I'm going to save. I will have what I want most over what I want now. See, this is what Paul said. Hey, I want to do what's right, but I can't. Who could help me? Jesus. Jesus is the one who can. His power helps me to choose what I want most over what I want now. It's Jesus. It's Christ in me who leads me, who guides me, who directs me to choose discipline over regret. That God's Word will renew my mind. That Jesus in me is stronger than the sinful desires that I have, and that's why I'm going to run the race that I'm going to run. Don't miss this. Well, what did you write down? Or what came to the front of your mind when I asked you, what do you want most? You got to think about it. You got to be real with yourself. You got to be honest with yourself. What do you want most? And then once you have that, you can move to what do you need to choose now to achieve or to experience what you want most. And here's just a reality. If you don't do something now about what you want most, it will become your greatest regret. If you don't do something now about what you want most, you will experience the real pain of regret. But the bottom line is this: we all have a choice. You have a choice, I have a choice. That's why for some of you today, this is the day that it all changes. You're going to walk out that front door and you're going to say, this is what I want, and if I can just stay off of the grass long enough, if I can just stay off of the grass long enough, guess what? God makes that grass grow again. That beautiful yard can happen because God is a redeeming God. And we can run with purpose in every step. And as God renews the places that I have trampled on, I'm going to grow in my discipline. I'm going to become a disciplined person. And when I fall, when I slip up, I'm going to get right back up, and I will ask God to help me, to guide me, to direct me. I will depend on Him to give me the power that I need, but at the same time, I'm going to get off my rear end and do what I can do. I will do my part as I depend on Him for His power, His energy. And because of Him working in me, I will choose discipline over regret. It's a choice we have to make, each and every one of us. Let's pray. And Father, you're a mighty God and you're an awesome God. Lord, you are so good. You help us. You provide a way for us to make choices each and every day. We can choose what we want now, or we can choose what we want most. Lord, help us to just bring that statement to our mind over and over and over. And help us remember the idea that I can feel the pain of discipline, or I'm going to experience the pain of regret. Lord, help us to allow you to work in us in a powerful way. Whatever it is that you lay on our heart, when we hear that question, what do we want most? Lord, that we would allow you to speak to us. And I pray that you would speak to us. And we would do more than hear, but we would take action on it. That we would put together and we'd answer that second question. What do we need to do now to achieve or to experience the answer to the first question. Lord, I know you're a faithful God. I know you're an awesome God that loves us so much, and you can make beautiful things out of us. When we fall, and we will, help us to get back up and to start again, walking with you hand in hand as we go through life. Lord, you promise to never leave us, to never forsake us, but to walk with us each and every day. And I thank you for that, the reality that you are there. I pray that we would walk faithfully with you, that we can put our feet on the rock of you, that as you walk in us and as you walk through us, you will lead us down the right path. You will help us to take the right step, to do the right thing each and every day. Lord, I pray that I would no longer live in my power, but I would live in your power, that I'd allow you to work in me over and over and over. And it will get easier and easier and easier. Lord, do what only you can do. But I pray that we do what only we can do. And together, through your power, we can achieve, we can experience what we really want most. Lord, I thank you for who you are. And that's exactly what you want to do in our life. And at the end of the day, as we become followers of you, the ultimate goal is to become like your Son, Jesus. And I pray that we would work towards that. But once again, I thank you for the rock that you are. And I pray all of this in the powerful name of your Son, Jesus. Amen.